What's up, everybody? This is the Jackhammer 2711 coming at you guys today with another video review. This is going to be a challenging review. I'm going to be honest with you guys because of where my camera's set up. I'm having to do a whole new setup for this because this guy is just so stinking big. This is the Neca Godzilla action figure, not the 6 or 7 inch scale. This action figure is huge. This big guy stands, as you can see, over 12 inches tall. Zoom in there so you can see that info. 12 inches tall, and head to tail is over 24 inches in length. He is monstrous. He is huge. I mean, this is a big action figure. See here, features authentic roar sound. He's got a lot going on. I mean, he is massive. He is huge. And I mean, he fills up the frame on the camera. And I'm much further back than I would normally be with my normal setup. Taking a look at the back of the packaging here, since we got to turn it around. You've got the Godzilla sign here with that kanji writing in behind there, which was, kind of standard with the movie posters and everything going on with this movie. Really plays up the fact that this character comes from Japan. Of course, you got Godzilla here. You got a nice little bio right here. Not going to read it. If you guys want to read it, you can pause the video and make an attempt. Go ahead and kind of zoom in on that bio just a little bit for those of you who care to see it. There it is right there. If you care to read it, pause the video here. Take a read. I'm not going to read it. But zooming back out here, you have Godzilla. A nice picture of him right there on the packaging. Right around here, features authentic roar sound. Of course, Godzilla was made by Legendary Pictures, made by Neca. Side of the packaging here, you've got once again that Godzilla logo with the kanji writing behind it, and another Godzilla. I mean, they really want you to know this is Godzilla. In case you couldn't tell by looking at the figure and how big he is and how massive he is and what he is, it's Godzilla. Of course, you got Godzilla here again with the kanji writing, Godzilla at the bottom. A nice picture of Godzilla as he appears in the film. Just really, really cool. This is a nice job of packaging. Taking a look at the top of the packaging here. Once again, you've got a nice picture of Godzilla with the Godzilla logo and the writing on the package. Ages 14 and up, says on the top there. Spin that around and take a look at the bottom of the packaging. Gives you some detail here about how to change out the batteries whenever the batteries go dead in this big guy. Once again, Godzilla with the kanji writing behind it, that logo. And now the front of the packaging, the main event. You have the King of Monsters himself in packaging, Godzilla. Once again, Godzilla logo. You've got his name here on the bottom of the packaging. Once again, the features authentic roar sound in there. And that's pretty much him inside the packaging. And this thing is huge. I can't wait to get him out of the packaging and kind of fool around with him a little bit. Price tag on him right here. Probably can't see it from that distance. I bought him at a place called Third Planet Comics and Sci-Fi in Houston, Texas. I was there visiting some family. I highly recommend, if you're in the Houston area, to look that place up. It is massive. It is huge. They have so much stuff in there. It's ridiculous. From hot toys to stuff like this Godzilla, the large scale NECA figures, to old action figures like the old 90s X-Men animated series action figure line, to comics. They have so much stuff. Vintage Star Wars, new Star Wars toys, vintage Transformers, new Transformers, Masterpiece Transformers. If it's part of nerd culture, you will find it in that store. I hadn't seen this action figure anywhere. I knew it existed, I'd heard of it, but I hadn't seen it anywhere until I went to Third Planet. They're in Houston. I'll put a link to their website in the description of the video. Website there's really nothing to purchase on there, but you can go get the location of the store, directions, see a little bit what they're about, get them their mailing list, and I highly recommend it. They're Third Planet Sci-Fi and Comics. So give them a shout out, give them a look on their website. But that's where I found this guy, and he was $64.99 before tax. So that's Godzilla in the packaging. Let's go ahead and bust him out of his plastic prison and see just exactly what the King of Monsters is working with. Wow. Alright guys, we're back and we have Godzilla from Neca out of the packaging. And I've got to say I'm impressed. Which with Neca you really don't expect to be anything but impressed with their stuff whenever they put it out, because they do such a fantastic job. Especially on sculpts, and here in the past probably 5 or 6 years, their articulation has really picked up and leveled off to where it's the level of articulation and the quality of figures has caught up to the sculpting, and this figure is no different. As you can see, he is massive. I mean, he is absolutely huge. I can't even get him fully in frame with my setup that I have here. I'm kind of limited on space because my house is so small, but I mean, hopefully I'll be able to do justice to this figure with this review. I sincerely hope. But he is massive. I mean, just taking a look, zooming in here on that face sculpt. Look at that mug. That is a mug only a mother could love. And so detailed. I mean, just look at that. I mean, he's got, his eyes are painted this really nice, almost kind of, not really orangish yellow, but just a really deep yellow with that single solitary, reptilian slit pupil through it there. He's huge, guys. He's massive. The paint detail in here is awesome. It looks like it's kind of molded in this grayish black plastic, and then it's got like almost a grayish green, almost like the color of Castle Grayskull Man. If you've got Castle Grayskull Man in the Masters of the Universe Classics line, very similar to that. You can see like this green across here, across the top of his head, just everywhere, just dry brushed on top of that grayish black plastic, and it just looks fantastic. I mean, just taking another look at the face sculpt head on there, it just looks fantastic. The teeth are painted kind of this off-white, just this dingy yellow white color with just a hint of black on them. And when you open that mouth of his, I mean, he's got the sculpted tongue in there, as you can see here, with that wide open maw. Just an awesome figure. NECA really outdid themselves this time. Just moving down here, taking a look as we go down, you can see the detail there on the sculpt, the scales. I mean, he's just beautifully sculpted. This scale detail all across the arms, really across the whole body and back here. Down onto his leg there, all the way down to his feet. I mean, he's just got this gnarly looking foot, this huge foot, this three-toed foot, this big chunky thing here. You can see some more of that sculpted detail as I kind of pan around. You can see there on the leg more of that kind of greenish dry brushing there. It's very faint on camera, but it comes out much more obvious in the sculpt of the figure. Take a look at his hands there, these 4-clawed hands he's got here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fingernails are painted in black. Back up to the head sculpt here. And moving along, as you can see on his back, he's got these plates that are sculpted to his back. I'm not going to show all of the tail yet. I just do want to point out, as you can see there, also there, there, and there, the way he was packaged, the plates on his back kind of came off bent a little bit, kind of warped. I'm thinking taking a hair dryer to it will straighten those out. I'm hoping. If not, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like his back scales here are going to be perfectly straight at all times whenever he's mucking around and mucking about, causing destruction everywhere he goes. But taking a look now at this tail, it comes unassembled in the package. The tail from about this point here all the way back comes as a separate piece. You attach it to a ball joint right about here. I will say this, it is quite difficult to get that tail plugged in. I mean, you've got spikes here, and just not a good thing whenever you're trying to get a tight grip on something. But if you work with it a little bit, and I mean, you really got to kind of, at least on mine, you kind of have to bow up on it a great deal to finally get it to pop into place. But once I had it in place, I haven't had any problems with it coming off once it was securely fastened. And this thing is ridiculous. This tail, from this is an articulation point. Okay? See if you can see that here. This is an articulation point. It spins right here where it connects, kind of a little bit right here. But the tail itself is 12 separate pieces. There's 12 separate pieces to this tail. You've got the tip here at the end, which articulates here. Then you've got another smaller piece right behind it articulating here. You've got a piece behind that articulating here. A piece articulating here. Another connection point there. Then another connection point right here. And then there. 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 And then finally there. And it attaches up here. I mean, they went all out. Now, the articulation isn't as such on this tail where you're going to be getting a lot of dramatic tail poses, but very, very effective in swinging from side to side and getting it to look natural whenever you do that. As you can see there, it doesn't really go up very, very high, but that right there is about the highest point at which you'll get the tail to go up, with Godzilla's feet still planted on terra firma there. But I mean, just, you know, they could have just put a bendy tail in, or you know, cut a point here, here, and here. But they really went all out with that tail articulation, and it is fantastically cool. I mean, this figure is just beautifully done figure. You know, get a look at him head on there. See if we can get a little bit more of him into the frame. You know, it's just getting a closer look at him there. That head sculpt again. Just kind of make our way down the front of the figure. I mean, he is huge. Just a great action figure. Just look at all that. The sculpting detail. It's a NECA figure, so you expect it. But when you see it and get it out of packaging, I mean, just wow, wow, wow. It's fantastic. He's huge. So impressed. I'm just So very impressed with this figure. Let's get a look at him from the other side here. It's pretty standard, about what you'd expect. You've seen him from the other side, that's what it looks like, but just taking a look at all this spike detail along the back, it's really quite nice. You know, the spikes just kind of run down the length of his back. And then into the tail, of course. That's about where the tail connects. And then just continues to run down the back of the tail. It's really fantastic. Really cool action figure. Now, on his back, right, oops, focus here. Let's get into focus. Come on. Come on. Right here. Right about here. Or is it here? Oh, don't tell me you're going to do this now. He would not shut up originally whenever I was putting his tail on. His voice kept, the roar feature kept going off every time I touched him. And now he wants to be shy. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way the batteries are dead. Oh, well, that is beyond disappointing because it was such a cool sound. Man, that's disappointing. I wanted you guys to hear it. But anyway, right here, you press this in and it would give you the sound that you hear in the movie whenever Godzilla, you know, makes his mighty roar. Was this scale right here. And it's just, it's not working anymore for some reason. Anyway, taking a look at the articulation, of course we'll start with the tail. Like I said, there are 12 points of articulation. All appear to be on a ball joint. Of course, there's one here, one here, one here, 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 here. I already went through that. 12 points of articulation on the tail. 13 counting where it plugs in right here. Further articulation, we'll take a look at the head first. The head, it has 2 articulation points. As you can probably see, there's a cut here and here, so the head can turn on this cut and also down here at this cut. And it probably will go all the way around, but I don't want to scrape off any of that paint detail by bringing it all the way around, so I'm not going to do that now. Of course, he has an articulated jaw on a hinge, goes up and down. Moving down here to his arms, he has an articulation point here, and it appears to just be a swivel. If it's on some kind of ball joint or hinge joint on the inside, it does have somewhat of a movement in and out, but that's about all you're going to get here. That's about it. Really tight joint though. He has the hinge, single point hinge joint here at the elbow and a swivel also at the elbow that will go all the way around. Also, the hands are on a ball joint. Get that in frame here. Hands are on a ball joint, so they will, you know, kind of give you this kind of motion here. It's on both hands. He does have waist articulation right here. As you can see, that bad boy will go kind of rock like this. Swivel somewhat. You know, you do have your spikes back here, so it will hit if you're not careful, but it'll swivel a good bit right there at that joint. Really, really will. So really good, nice articulation point there. Moving down to the legs, he does have articulation here. That leg will go all the way around. Once again, it kind of has that in and out movement, just like the shoulder up here did, but you're not going to get a whole lot of movement out of that. But let's face it, you don't need it, really. He's got the single point, a real nice amount of motion in that single point knee joint he's got there. And it also swivels all the way around. And then here at the foot, so excuse me, the feet swivel. See if I can get it. The feet do swivel, and they move just, really tight joint, just a bit on the hinge joint. Just a bit. Anyway, let's bring it out to a wider shot. Kind of move back a little bit. Maybe I can get the whole thing in frame here. Hey, there we go. Posed with his feet flat on the floor and his tail kind of up. That's about what you're going to get out of a standing pose from him. Of course, you know, you can still get some real good posing, kind of turning the head to the side, arms down, kind of in that good walking gait that he has there. But this is the Neca 12-inch, well, slightly over 12-inch Godzilla action figure. I hope this review wasn't too, I guess I'll say jarring to you guys. It's really hard with my setup to get a good picture of him, to get him all in frame, to really get good angles. But I hope it wasn't too disturbing. I hope you guys were able to see enough of the figure to get a good appreciation of it. It's really awesome. It's a great collectible action figure. The packaging does say it's recommended for children 14 and up. I know my son, who was about to be 10, whenever I brought this out of Third Planet and he saw it, he went nuts. He was like, wow, oh, it's Godzilla. And he has kind of that cheap Atomic Roar Godzilla. Well, I say cheap, it was still about 25 bucks. But that's more of a kid toy. And this thing, it dwarfs that thing. He's huge. And it's not like there's any small parts that are going to fall off that could choke a young child. So if you have a child who's, you know, maybe that 9, 10, 11 age range, and you want to pick this up for them, by all means do it. It's not like you have to be 14 to be able to enjoy this or treat it with the kind of respect that you have to treat a collectible toy. But anyway, this has been a review of the Neca 12-inch Godzilla action figure. As always, if you liked what you saw, you need to rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me guys know what you thought. Always appreciate feedback. This has been Jackhammer 2711, and as always, I will catch you guys on the flip side.